What's up, humans? All right. Today, I'm going to address an important subject about the IC solution. You see, a lot of people ask me, is the IC solution a godless program? Absolutely not. Okay. Now, when I was trying to get better from alcoholism, I went to over 1,000 AA meetings. And the program there is pretty straightforward. Admit the way I read it, okay? Everyone has their own interpretation. It's like the Bible, everyone has their own interpretation. But the 12 steps to me basically say admit you're useless, admit you're a piece of shit, uh, write down all the reasons why you're a piece of shit, your inventory, and then hand them over to God. Uh, and then start sharing this word with other people and apologize to all the people you've wronged. Um, okay, and when I was going in and out of detoxes, which I did 16 times over 8 years, I was convinced because I was told over and over again that the AA program is the spiritual solution, is the only way out. I was going to die if I didn't figure that out. And I would say I was probably agnostic, not atheist, kind of agnostic when I went in. But because I wanted so much to live, I found a God of my understanding. I made a very true connection with kind of this universal consciousness. But still, I and but so I wrote and I believed I was a piece of shit. I wrote down all the problems I had and I tried to make this connection with this universal consciousness. So although I totally believe in a higher power and uh, basically the IC solution doesn't matter if you believe in one or not. It's not against people who do. But for those of you that so with the 12 steps of the AA, it not only asks that you come to believe in a higher power, power greater than yourself. It asks that you invite that power in to take away all of your inventory, all of your fears, all of your desires, all of your resentments. And that did not work for me. And I tried so hard to make that work for me. So I'm all for spirituality, and it kind of made me a happier person in general, feeling at one with with the universe. But it didn't come in and take away my problems. And that's where the IC solution came in and actually did. And let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't even know what the IC solution is, you're probably clueless, but it's kind of a video made for those that do already. But I'm going to give you a little starter on what the IC solution is. And that involves me. By the way, I just started making videos 23 days ago, so forgive me that I'm clunky with all of this. But let me throw this up. The IC solution, okay, the default perspective that we have as children, as we come into life, is that we are all the thoughts and all the emotions that go on in our head, no matter how crazy or contradictory they are. And that's kind of the way I always was that I believed all my emotions and all my thoughts were me. And even though I'd be like, I am never, ever drinking again because I am most certainly going to die, there was another voice inside of me that would yell, you're a piece of shit. You're no good. Everything is scary. You haven't amounted to what you're supposed to be. You're a failure. Now drink, 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 drink. That guy over here would continue to yell and yell. And I'd be over here like, no, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink because I know it's going to kill me. And I know I'm an okay person and I'm good enough. And this one would get louder. You aren't good enough. You're a piece of crap. Now go drink. Eventually it got so loud, there was no amount of willpower that could stop it. Okay. Now what the IC solution is, we ask that you take on a different perspective, a perspective where you are not everything that's going on inside your head. You are not all the emotions. You are not all the toxic thoughts, and you are not all the actions you carry out. Some of them are completely out of your control, like me when I went to get that bottle. But instead, we look at ourselves like this, where I am my consciousness and my conscious brain. And then there's a vast subconscious that has a whole bunch of things spinning around in it that aren't me at all, that are outside of my many totally outside of my conscious awareness. And then there's a separate actor in this scene. And that's what we call the IC, the instinctual core. And that involves a culmination of all of our instincts that make use of this very fast, very powerful, but also very, which is because it's so fast and so powerful, it is also dumb. It's got to make decisions really quick. And it's running the show 90% of the time. And the instinctual core, you think, well, why would the instinctual core that is made up of a culmination of our survival instincts be driving us to insanity, to drink ourselves to death, to eat ourselves to death, to be full of anxiety, full of depression, full of these toxic emotions? Why? Well, that's because the instinctual core and all the survival instincts that it combines weren't made for this world. It was made for a prehistoric world, a world that does not exist anymore. It's a much more fantastic, fabulous world, but our world no longer consists of a tribe of 100 people. It's 8 billion people. It no longer consists of about 100 square miles. It's the entire globe. And it's all the media, all the news, all the social media, all the advertisements, all the stuff coming down that we think, and it sees real life treats that we need, real life threats everywhere. And it's telling us a whole bunch of lies. It does not know how to adapt to this world. And with the IC solution, we ask that you take on this perspective where you're totally separate. This is you up here, and there's a total different actor in the stage. There's another co-pilot going on in your head that has a completely different agenda than you, and it's trying to fill up your subconscious, the thing that's taking control of you 90% of the time, with lies, which just don't work in this world. And we learn by separating from it and seeing it as separate from it. You can learn to train it like a puppy, and you can learn. You can see it, dissect it, and retrain it, because that separate. And for me, that separation was so powerful. So no longer was I in the AA program. I saw myself as the problem. I came to believe that my life was unmanageable, and I could no longer control my ability to drink. And it was all me. And so I needed to find this thing up here, this higher power that would come and connect and take away my problems. It's beautiful for those that have that fundamental ability. Not all of us have that fundamental ability to make this connection with a higher power. I wish I did. It would have made my life so much easier. All my grandparents were missionaries. They spent their life in the service of God. It just wasn't in me. And even though when I came to believe in a higher power, I was not able to make that connection. And that goes back to a very young age when I was going to Sunday school, when I just didn't, none of it made sense to me. Okay, so that access to fixing myself in that method, although I was constantly told, go to AA, more AA meetings, try harder, you're trying too hard, get a sponsor, get a different sponsor, read the book, do your inventory. I did all those things over and over again. They always failed. Someone's got to be out there to say, hey, the program fails 92% of the time. If it doesn't work, move on. And this, with the IC solution, we're offering a different way to look at yourself, where you are awesome, where you are everything you want to be. And there's this other separate actor that's down below, the lower part of your brain, trying to get you to do all the wrong things. It thinks those things are for your survival, but they're not. Okay, but the point of this video is to tell you, I still believe in a higher power. I came to believe in one. And I love that connection. And in fact, when I show you a breakdown of the user's guide that I've created to help people dissect what's going on inside their head, and this is the user's guide. I'm not going to go through all the details here, but basically you see we have you up here, your instinctual core down here, and this is the activation filter. And everything that's coming through all your sensory inputs comes in through the bottom, just as a representation, to see that it passes through the instinctual core first, because the instinctual core gets first right because it's using the faster brain. It's using that system one brain, that subconscious brain. But you now have the ability to see when it's starting to act and have the time to pause, unless it's like jumping out of the way of a bus, right? You don't want to pause during that real threat, but there's a whole bunch of threats it's looking for in this world that aren't real anymore. that won't get you killed. In fact, it'll get you killed if you react to the threats all the time. So um, the point is, you no longer have to see yourself as all the thoughts and have to go to a higher power. You can see yourself as not all the thoughts and something else is making all those thoughts. You separate from the instinctual core because with this user's guide, you will learn how to see how it's creating this volcano inside your head and you'll learn how to catch it, just like you would a puppy that doesn't stop barking and because it knows you're going to let it up on that bed every time it continues to bark. You're eventually going to see that it's in something separate from you that's barking, drink, 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 drink. And you're allowed to say, hey, little buddy, I see what you're doing. You're trying to save my life by getting me to avoid the threats by having this alcohol. But we're not doing that anymore. That's not how we save our lives. So yes, it's a spiritual program. And in fact, one of the highest level of human engagement, of the human happiness drives is purpose. And that's where you can include your God, but the God of your understanding, but you have to be able to stop all the self-doubt, self-pity, self-loathing, anxiety, procrastination that all of this IC is creating in order to start to gain access to these upper levels. Okay? So, yes, we're absolutely, well, we are a rational solution. We have a rational solution that totally loves your spiritual side. And that's all I got for today. Uh, Hey, if you like this video, if it helped you at all, like that, press that like button, subscribe because we've got a whole bunch of videos that talks about individual situations where you can dampen your anxiety, your addictions, your depression, and start taking over your own life. And but most importantly, if you want to start making changes in your own life, come visit us at the Instinct Center. Jump to the homepage. You can see how the IC solution saved my life, and just go through a quick start guide to learn all there is to know in just 47 minutes. And then join us in the IC investigation meetups where we're all working together to investigate the instinctual cores within ourselves because the instinctual cores are all working off the same rules, the same template. It just goes out of whack in different places. And since you are the number one expert on yourself, you're able, once you know that template that the instinctual core is using, you're able to fix yourself. Okay, so that's all I got. Love ya. Peace out. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.